If your saber has blade detection, but you want to change this default behavior, here's a cool feature that you can enable yourself. Blade detection isn't something that's available on each and every CFX lightsaber. It has to be wired in. But if you hear those sounds that I just demonstrated, then of course blade detection is present. How can you change this configuration? Let's go to the configuration parameters for this. Now, if you open your SD card and take a look at the files that are on there, you will see this folder structure of the fonts. You have the colors.txt, config.txt and the special.txt. If you open the special.txt and scroll down to a line that says tangible, and this is where the magic happens. If blade detection is wired in, then most likely this line will not have any hash signs in front of it. These hash signs mean that the line is not active. So if you hash this, then the line will not be active and blade detection will not work. So this is what's present at default, and the most simple way of wiring blade detection is it's either detected or it's not detected. So the O means it will detect the blade and play the sounds, and this will get triggered when the blade is removed. So you don't need to understand what the rest of these options can do. For simplicity's sake, let's assume that it's a very basic wiring and you only have the blade is in or the blade is out. Now, as you can see over here, it's a capital X. It's mentioned over here. When the blade is removed, the saber won't power on, and when it is already powered on and you remove the blade, then it will start the retraction. And this small O will only mean that it will play the detection sound when the blade is inserted. Now you can very easily change this setup, because you can replace these signs with an index of a sound font. So when the blade is detected, I want to play, for example, the first sound font that is in my SD card. And when the blade is not in there, I want to play I want the saber to move to the second sound font on my SD card. And why is this useful? This can be useful because you can have a default sound font that will mimic the, for example, a broken lightsaber or a lightsaber under testing. We've got several sound fonts that mimic a lightsaber workbench. So that's very cool. You can also link specific accent LEDs setups to this sound font, specific graphics effects. So you can, if you have these connectors with LEDs in them or accent pixels, you can set this up specifically for a sound font that gets enabled when the blade is not inserted. And once you insert the blade again, it will move back to the first sound font. Now let me demonstrate this for my specific setup. So I've got three sound fonts. First one is the light. Second one is a crystal workbench. So that is a lightsaber under construction, or I'm just working on the lightsaber. So what I want to do is when the blade is inserted, I want to select the first sound font, and it's a 0-based index. So this is the first sound font. And when I take out the blade, I want it to move to the second sound font. It's the crystalline of the crystal workbench. So let's try this out and take this. Okay, let's close this and take this to the saber. Right, so with the SD back in the saber, let's put the blade in. Light. And it will move to the light. And when I'm removing the blade,
Welcome back.
it will move to the crystal workbench, and the other way around.
Light.
So I can even ignite the blade now, burning my hand, and when I remove the blade right now, it will move to the crystal workbench sound font once again. So that's a really cool feature. It doesn't take a lot of configuration, just mess around with the very basic parameters of the default package. Let me show you again. In the in the special.txt, look for the line that says tangible. Make sure these hash signs are not in front of it and that your saber is wired for blade detection. This is for the blade is inserted, and pick any of the indexes of your sound fonts. Make sure it's 0 based, and this is for when the blade is taken out of the hilt. This should give you some opportunity to spice your configuration up just a little bit. Hope this helps. Bye bye.